Hey guys, Chris Superfast RC, and today we're doing the full review of the Traxxas Maxx. This review is going to be a little bit different. We're going to take a close look at the truck, and I'm going to show you some places that we need to focus on, and just the general overview and what I think about the truck and what I think Traxxas could have done better and what I think Traxxas did right with this truck. So we're going to go ahead and get started with it. So it's the Traxxas Maxx V2 Widemaxx. And it basically is a updated version of the original Traxxas Maxx, which was the baby X-Maxx. So if y'all don't know, the X-Maxx was basically shrunk down to this size for the chassis and all the arms and everything. They strongly resemble the Traxxas X-Maxx in design, which is great because the Traxxas X-Maxx is a very durable and tested and proven platform. So it's a good place to start. So what they did here with the V2 is they went ahead and they lengthened the chassis, the body, and made the arms wider just to give you a more stable and better handling truck, supposedly. Now, I've never owned a Maxx V1, but if you don't follow the Traxxas Maxx and you're new to this, you know the Traxxas Maxx is the basher-proof truck from Traxxas. And there is no arguing that. The Traxxas Maxx, this truck right here, is the most durable truck that they make. I won't argue that with anybody. I think this is a great platform for bashing, and that purpose alone, it is an excellent truck. So for that, I'm going to give it excellent marks. If you're a basher and you're looking to just go out and thrash this thing, take it to the skate park and just send it, I mean, that's what it's made to do. And it's a great platform for that. So moving on from that, we're going to focus on the actual body work here. So the body itself is basically an X-Maxx body that's been shrunk down. And I'm going to go ahead and show you this right here, just so you get an idea of size difference. That's an X-Maxx body. So it basically swallows the entire Maxx. But if you can tell, everything on this body is shrunken down on the Maxx V2 to a way that it is usable as a 1/10 scale vehicle. So that's great. And the graphics, of course, from Traxxas, always good. Never had a problem there with their body designs. And I just personally like green and blue, so that's kind of my thing. It's my theme. So this works for me. Moving on from the body, of course, we have the color match shocks and the little wheel inserts here on the Sledgehammer tires. I'm not sure what they call these wheels. They're black wheels. They work. They're actually 17 millimeters, so if you want to go ahead and replace the little 8 millimeter nut here within the spacer, you can go ahead and order yourself up a set of, I believe they're eRevo 17 millimeter hex adapters, and they'll fit right on there, and you can just use a regular 17 millimeter hex nut to hold your wheels on. So that's cool. And then it opens up the door to, you know, A-scale tires, A-scale, anything you want to do with A-scale tires and stuff and wheels. So that's really cool of them to do. This top skid plate's included out of the box. We're on the X-Maxx. It's not on some models. On some models it is. It depends. You have your screws here. With the little washers, they add in durability to the body itself. The body itself is a Lexan material. It's a little crinklier than I remember Lexan being back in the old days, but you know, things have changed. I'm sure this is no different. So it is what it is. It's a good body. It's very durable. It's thick, and it's going to last a while. But as you can see, I've got some dimples here already forming in the rear. So it is what it is. It's a basher truck. You can get unbreakable bodies for these and, you know, just thrash them. Back here, we're going to go ahead and take the body off. We also have a internal cage in the body and, of course, the Traxxas quick release system. Very nice. On the inside of the body, of course, it's nice and painted white. It's got a screen print and everything, so nice and taken care of there. We've got this internal structure. This is for the body mount mechanism. Back here, we have support for the little tailgate lip they have added here for added durability. And up front, we have the internal cage and, of course, the body hook up front. This cage carries on and actually structurally connects back to this part right here, which will aid in durability once again. So probably the most durable body I've ever seen from Traxxas on the X-Maxx and the Maxx. And of course all the quick release bodies have the internal cage. Moving into the truck itself, we have the Valenion VXL4S ESC, and then of course the 540XL motor. They have nice cooling fans on each of the electronics here, the motor and the ESC. Haven't had any issues with the cooling fans. They keep everything nice and cool. Have no issues with heat on here when running stock 4S. Of course, this system is limited at 4S, so if you're going to upgrade this, of course you know that it's built for 6S out of the box. You can do that. Just replace your motor and ESC and you're good to go with a 6S part. You can take the system right out of an eRevo 2.0, slap it in here, and have an absolutely different truck. So that's cool. But you want to do some mods to it before you do that. And I'm fixing to cover all that. Battery tray, it's lengthened, so you can actually insert a X-Maxx size body, because Traxxas did their research and they said, oh, the people that own Maxxes that are likely to buy a Maxx are also probably going to have an X-Maxx in their fleet. So what we're going to do is we're going to make the truck a little bit longer, so you can go ahead and fit an X-Maxx size battery in here with no issue at all. Boom, it's in. No fitment issues, and we've actually got a little bit of space here at the rear for a spacer, which is, I've had the battery pushed forward for weight distribution. That's why I have my spacer in the rear. So perfect. That's excellent. I love it. I love the compatibility there that they baked into the platform. So that is sweet. High marks for Traxxas there, 10 out of 10. And one thing I will say though, with these larger X-Maxx batteries, you start to get into an issue with weight. I'm not saying it's a bad thing, but this is a super heavy platform, or a super heavy battery for a 10th scale vehicle. And I just think that you should be aware of that when tuning your suspension. This will perform differently than a lighter battery will out of the box. So just keep that in mind. It's not bad. It's just something you're going to have to deal with a heavier battery in a lighter weight truck. So it is what it is. Same size servo they have in the X-Maxx. This is not the same servo that they have in the X-Maxx. It's the same size. So if you were to upgrade the servo, you could go to an X-Maxx servo. It would drop right in and you would have plenty of power to turn these wheels from the factory. I believe this servo is a little bit underpowered. Actually, it's a lot of bit underpowered. The speed is a little slow and it is underpowered. But it can be remedied easily. You can get adapters for 10th scale size servos to stick in there. You can get the X-Maxx size servo fit in there just fine. Everything's upgradable, like with all Traxxas vehicles, so you're not left in the dark, which is nice. All water sealed electronics, so your receiver and everything in here, and all your telemetry bits, TQI is all sealed and contained. So you can take this thing through the mud and the snow and the wet and the muck and not worry about it. Hose it off with a water hose and let it dry. Of course, you know, oil it down with something, keep everything from rusting, but it'll do it. It's meant to do it. Only thing you're going to hurt is probably your screws and your bearings. Just keep that in mind. They are not stainless steel, so they will rust, and you will have issues with them if you don't, take precautions when you clean it off. So, but yeah, good that Traxxas has made this thing waterproof. Nice, like with everything else they have. Moving down, we've got our shocks here. These are the GT Maxx shocks. Very similar to like an A-scale size buggy shock. I dare I say the AR brand style vehicles kind of shocks that they've got on here. Excellent shocks, nice, looks like maybe 5mm shafts, 4 to 5mm shafts, so you're not going to bend them. But there are some issues we need to talk about with the shocks out of the box. So the geometry of the truck is 100% compatible with each end of the truck. So the shocks are the same lengths, the arms are the same lengths, these are the same design, they're reversible. Everything is reversible on this truck. So if you break a rear arm, it's going to be the same part as the front arm, it's just going to be flopped. Which is kind of cool from a parts support standpoint. You only got one set of parts, everything's mirrored right to left, front to back, it's cool. But from the geometry standpoint, that leaves you a little bit lacking in tuning options and suspension options for sure. There is no adjustable toe-in, there's no adjustable camber, but Traxxas did their homework. This truck is marketed at the basher crowd, the people that just want to, keep it in the back of their car and take it out and rip it when they get a chance and let it go soaring high and send it over fences, houses, whatever they're going to do with the truck. It'll do it, and it'll do it and bounce back and be just fine after it's done. So, but the shock oil and tuning that they have out of the box is subpar, especially if you're going to run a heavy X-Maxx battery. And I've seen online where people say, well, the truck was tuned to run a lightweight 4S, a 5000. And that's probably true. It probably was tuned for that. But most people are going to run the heavier batteries. They are going to run, they're going to be jumping super high, landing hard. And the factory tuning on the shocks was not correct. I will tell you that much right now. The rear end slaps very hard off the smallest of jump. The front end is also light in the weight on the dampening. So it's easy to remedy though. It's good. What I did was I went ahead and went with 55 weight oil in the rear, and then up front I went with a 60 weight oil. That's my final setup. I know I released a video in the past with 70 weight oil here and other stuff. It's a little heavy for me. It seemed to have a little bit less steering than I wanted, so I went ahead and lightened up the oil in the rear, increased the preload a little bit, and I also unscrewed the rod ends on the bottom of the shocks about where there's 3 millimeters of thread exposed. And the reason is when you bottom out the truck, the shocks, I don't know if you can see that, they're not at the end of their stroke, so they've got more to give. So just to add a bit of droop, all you have to do is loosen your rod end a little bit, and it gives you more droop in the rear, because the droop from the factory out of the box is equal front to rear. And if you know anything about racing or handling on an RC vehicle, you need to have more droop in the rear just to give you more travel for those big jumps, and it's just going to aid in handling. So that's highly recommended to do by me and by several other people out there. So go ahead, unscrew your rod ends just a little bit, not enough to where it's going to make a difference in durability, but just gives you a little bit more droop and helps the truck handle a little bit better. So after that, let's talk differentials. So the rear, from the factory, the center and rear differential come with, like, I want to say it's a putty. I think Traxxas says it's 2 million weight. It's basically like boogers, or like that earplug material people are saying all the time online. And I peeled it out of that differential. It looked like boogers. So you want to go ahead and get that out of there. In the center differential, I went with a 5,000 weight oil from Kyosho, or 500,000 weight oil. And that's still pretty much like slime. But the reason you don't want to go too thin on these Traxxas differentials, especially the center, because this truck's meant to do wheelies. It's meant to, just rip and go. It's got big tires. You don't want to cook your differential. And with Traxxas vehicles, it's a thing where you don't want too much diff action, especially in a center differential, because they're not designed like an 8th scale differential. They're designed like a 10th scale differential. And if you get those diffs hot, they're gonna fail. And they make upgrades. You can get aluminum diff cups and aluminum gears and everything. But just out of the box, if you want to add a little bit more steering and a little bit more drivability into the platform, I would recommend getting rid of that gunk that they put in the center differential. Go down to like a 500,000 weight oil, and it's going to give you a little bit of slip, not a lot, but just enough. You can see that there is some center differential action happening. But you're still going to be able to wheelie. You're still going to be able to do all that crazy stuff, backflips, no problem at all. Rear differential, once again, was pretty thick, but I wouldn't say it was bad out of the box. I just want to say you want to go a little lighter than the front. And this goes for any vehicle, any platform, race, non-race, anything. Unless you're rock crawling, you want to go lighter in the rear. And that's just going to help with steering and your turn in a little bit. It's just going to make it easier to drive vehicle. And the front, you want to leave thick. You don't have to touch the front differential. I feel it's fine out of the box. But I would lighten the front up. I'd go with like a 5,000 weight oil and leave it at that. And you'll have a much better handling truck. So to conclude, I think those mods right there, they don't cost a lot. That can all be done for less than 20 bucks at the hobby shop. You can buy your oils and do those changes. And I think that changes the way the truck drives 100%. I think it's a much better handling truck. It's more controllable on a track. It's more controllable in the grass. On the street, you might not notice it as much, but it's going to help with some aspects of that handling too. You're not going to have as much, you know, rolling over if you're trying to do a super high speed run. It's going to have more. Your front wheels are going to spin faster than the rear, just to kind of save you from doing the wheelie and stuff. But I think that those mods right there changes the way I feel about this truck. Because out of the box, guys, I'm not going to lie, I was a little disappointed after the first 2 or 3 runs of this truck. I wasn't happy. But I did my research, did some digging, did some tuning, and I think it's made this truck one of, not my favorite truck, but one of the ones that I would keep to just, you know, have something. Let's go run RC cars, grab my Maxx, I'm good to go. So moving on from there, the tires themselves are a huge upgrade, I will say, over the first generation Maxx. The first generation Maxx tires were kind of clones of the X-Maxx tire. They're not entirely X-Maxx tread patterns, a little different, but the profile and everything was all X-Maxx. So these are sledgehammers, which were originally released on the Haas 4x4. These are not the same size tires that are on the Haas 4x4. These are a little bigger. They're on the 17 millimeter wheel, and they are miles more durable than any other Traxxas tire that's ever been released. I don't foresee you having any issues with these. They have a thick, durable carcass, and they are just aggressive. They're tuned basically to run on any surface. They're basically Proline Badlands, guys. You can't deny it. They are very close to the MX motocross style tread pattern. And I'm not saying that's a patented technology or tread pattern, but I'm just saying that the Proline Badlands MX, the Badlands, you know, for the last 20 years have been the go-to, you know, crossover tire for anything you want to do. If you want to go on a dirt track, you want to go gravel, rocks, grass, street, they do it all. And basically the Sledgehammer is that tire. I don't foresee you needing to change these to anything else unless you want to go bigger. Of course, you know, you go bigger, you start having other issues. But Traxxas did a great job on these tires. 10 out of 10. You don't need to change them. They're perfect out of the box. Good job, Traxxas. Moving on to the bottom of the truck and the rear. So the Maxx V2, of course, just like the original Maxx, you have plastic half shafts. They're kind of the Revo spec design that splines internally, and they're pretty durable. I don't foresee you having a lot of issues unless you go 6S. They should be all right. This truck, I'm not saying it's tame on 4S, but I don't foresee you breaking a lot of parts on 4S. So that's good. If you're looking to just buy a truck to have and you're not going to totally, you know, upgrade it to the moon and thrash it, I think this truck's going to last a long, good time for you. So like I said, everything geometry-wise on the suspension is mirrored all the way around. There's no tie rods in the rear. The only thing we have in the front is our steering links, and basically that's it. Everything's the same all the way around. So that's good for parts availability and part support and bashing in general, I guess you want to say it. I don't really care for the idea of it because you're not having any adjustability back here, but I see what they did and I see why they did it, and it's just the market that this truck is aimed at. It's not aimed at a racer, and I'm a racer, so it's kind of like one of those things. It's like, man, I can't adjust that. I can't adjust that. What? But it's not what that's for. The wheelie bar here, super durable. I've landed on it from 10 feet in the air, directly on the wheels. No damage whatsoever. These are heavy-duty 4mm screws with ball bearings, so you're not going to have any trouble with these at all. Good job, Traxxas there. Very X-Maxx spec. They might even be the exact same wheels. I think they might be a little smaller than the X-Maxx, but same style, same design. Rear bumper, very X-Maxx-ish, durable. It's got the little bit of cushion to give, so when you land on it, you're not going to automatically snap something. Skid plates here. It is what it is. It's a high center gravity chassis design, so we're going to have this empty space. You're going to take some hits here, so probably a wear part you're going to have to replace, you know, every 30, 40 runs. But that's cool because it protects everything else underneath. Center drive line, we've got a nice big aluminum drive shaft in here. I don't foresee breaking that. It's connected to this front skid plate. Once again, wear part, you just replace it every so often and you're good to go. Yeah, we've got these nice body protector side guards here, so that's cool. Not much else to tell you about under the truck, really. The arms themselves, out of the box, they're not the HD arms. They are the thinner design. So if you snap an arm, you can upgrade to the HD if you'd like to. So that's nice. Up front, we've got our front bumper. It's got the cushion, like I said, just like the X-Maxx, and it's going to be very durable for you. It's also another smaller bumper down here, just to protect you if you hit a rock or a curb or something like that. Other than that, guys, the Maxx V2, like I said, it's marketed at a specific market, and I think Traxxas knew what they were going after when they built the truck and designed it. I have one more thing to say before I put the body back on. Just be aware, on all four corners, it is using the classic Traxxas screw pin style hinge pins. They do back out. Just watch it over, when you run, just tighten them up if you see one backing out, and you'll be good to go. They do offer the E-clip hinge pins if you want to upgrade to those, so you don't have to worry about that. So, all right, go ahead and put the body back on. Just like all Traxxas clipless, there's a little bit of fiddling to get it to go on, but once you get it on, it's on, and you don't have to worry about it. So, in conclusion, they did provide this truck with this full TQI system, and if you want to get the TQI, the Bluetooth module, to monitor temperature, stuff like that, and add telemetry to it, you can. But fairly standard Traxxas transmitter. In conclusion, guys, Traxxas knew what they were going after when they built this truck. They're going after Arma. They're going after Team Corrali. They're going after all those trucks, the tent scales, the Technos, the Pro lines, the ultimate basher trucks, really. And I think they did a good job with what Traxxas has in their inventory and what they were able to do. And they saw that they had a truck that was a little bit lacking with the Maxx. They said, okay, our truck it rolls over, it's high center of gravity, the tires aren't that great. What can we do to improve it? So they lengthened the chassis, they lengthened the width of the track, and they lengthened the wheelbase. I think that's worked. For the market that it's aimed at, I think this is an excellent truck. Good job, Traxxas. Now here's where I'm going to give you some recommendations. If you're looking for a truck that you just want to take out and bash, send it, go to a concrete, drainage ditch and jump and do all sorts of stuff with it, this is your truck. You're going to send it off of skate ramps, you're going to send it off of ledges, do speed runs, and just crash into stuff, flips. The Maxx is your truck. Maxx V2 all day long. Now, if you're looking for a truck that's going to do all that and handle and be faster, do speed runs, have your 6S capability, arguably not as durable, but it's going to be a better truck overall in the end if you want to do anything like, speed runs, ultra high speed runs, stuff like that. It's more designed for that kind of stuff. And entering into off-road racing, e-Revo 2.0, it's not that much more expensive. Yes, it's a dated platform, and it's been around for a very long time. But that said, the e-Revo 2.0 will run circles around the Maxx V2 all day long. I don't care what you're doing. Unless you're trying to break it, the e-Revo is a better truck day in, day out. That's my opinion. I'm sure people will argue that, but for the money, better spent on an e-Revo 2.0. Now, you have to have 2 batteries. That's fine. Batteries have gotten super cheap. As everybody knows, you can go to Amazon, pick a brand, get a pair of 3S 5,000 milliamp hour batteries for under $50, and go send your e-Revo 2.0. That's not an issue. I know that people are going to argue that with me. It's just the way it is, the way I feel. And that's where that opinion stops. Now, if you're looking at the Maxx and cross-referencing it with the X-Maxx, and you can afford the X-Maxx, and you say, well, I want an ultimate basher truck. I'm not sure about the X-Maxx. It's expensive, it could be more fragile. It's going to have a higher cost of maintenance because you're going to have 2 batteries instead of 1, and the parts are just bigger and more expensive. If you can afford the X-Maxx, do it. It is a better truck. It will give you more of a smile on your face. Anytime you bring that X-Maxx out, anybody sees you with that thing and you jump it and you send it, dude, no way would I, if I could only have one, the X-Maxx would be the truck. Sorry. The Maxx V2 has its place. It is the ultimate 4S bash truck from Traxxas. It is a beast. It's a tank. The pricing, I think, is a little high. I think to be competitive with their market, they need to be about $450. But they have the Haas there. And the Haas is an upgraded Stampede 4x4, and I'm not knocking that truck at all. I think the Stampede 4x4 is a great platform. But you have trucks that are the same price, like the EXBs, the Team Corrales, Skeeters, stuff like that, that are way more durable than a Traxxas Haas. And those trucks are priced at the Haas. Now, this truck's durability is on par with those trucks. So Traxxas, I think, needs to do a reassessment of their line. And, you know, it's the whole T-brand thing. There's a price premium to it. I get it. But I think to make this truck more competitive, $499, I think that would be a great price point and would sell more Maxx V2s. I'm sure they're selling like crazy. They can't keep them on the shelves. But to be competitive in the market that this truck is aimed at, I think it's too expensive. I think this truck and the eRevo 2.0 are almost cannibalizing themselves. And the eRevo 2.0 is a better truck. So for the money, I would say there are better options than the Maxx. So in conclusion, guys, what do I think about this truck? I think it's a great vehicle. Traxxas did a great job on it. I think there are a few things that they kind of missed on, but those can be corrected. And like I just covered with the pricing and the, you know, category that this truck is in with its competitors, it's kind of out of place. But if you're looking for the ultimate basher Traxxas at 10th scale size, Traxxas Maxx V2 will not let you down. Thanks, guys, for watching. This has been Chris with Superfast RC. Like, comment, subscribe, and we'll see you in the next one. Bye-bye.